I mean, good morning, good morning. You hear the noise outside. I've just turned off the outside mic. I've had to. There's a truck. It's the first of the days, I know. The first of the days, Oshibori delivery. And it's the driver who doesn't turn things off. He's parked just outside. You just can't see the truck. It's off to the left. And he's left his motor running, so I've turned off the outside mic for now. He's right outside. If I turn the mic back on, you'll hear it. It's way too much noise. So good morning, gang. Good morning. Okay, what is it? Thursday morning here. It's going to be a quiet stream here today, I think. I'll just be carving. There's nothing special. Oh yeah, there is a show and tell. We'll look at this later on. It's a show and tell with a slightly regret story, but it's okay. Whatever. And also we get a box. We have a package to open. Something came. We'll save that for a little bit later. Remind me. If I forget, remind me. We have a package from Royal Mail. Postage paid GB. Great Britain. Remind me about that a bit later. Regrets. Actually, regret in this case isn't the word. Frustration is the word. Sometimes there's regrets that I should have done this or I shouldn't have done that. And sometimes it's frustration where I wasn't able to do this or wasn't able to do that, whatever. So maybe I chose the wrong word there. Okay, so recap what's going on here. We, I think, have finished. What have we got next? I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go around the other side of the dogs. We've got the dogs to do. Most of the greenery is now done. Let's follow the greenery around here. And once we finish this, start on the main event. So we'll come down here today. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. This morning when I turned the light on, I was thinking there might be some stuff already growing in the flask, but it's not. It's sand that's in the bottom. I think when I cleaned it out a few weeks ago, I put some gravel and sand in there and stuff and swirled it around to try and get rid of the stuff that was growing inside the glass. And we got it, what I thought was clear. But there's something in the bottom, and I think it's just leftover sand. We'll see. Who knows? Well, the water's clean, but I don't know if you can see there's so many reflections. The water's clean, but there's a little bit of something at the bottom. I said, I think it's sand. Not sure. All right, there goes our truck. Let's put the outside audio back on. Paper is out, yes, there's a two packs of paper is out. One is for Ayumi-san. She's working on, I don't remember what she's working on. Oh yeah, she's working on the print we have in our catalog of Plum Blossoms and Moonlight. And then Ishikawa-san's here, she's already here, she's working upstairs. She came while I was in the shower upstairs. She's working on the third print in this year's subscription series. And paper was all out handy. My alarm went off at 6 and I ran straight upstairs to do my job. So. But actually, Ishikawa-san came so early, her paper must have still been frozen because I took it out around 6 and she came about 6:20. So she wants to come during those times when the trains have fewest people. So. So on a Tuesday, I went out to Ome, some maintenance on the building, chat with the staff, get my hair cut, picked up some stuff from the collection to bring. So we've got a few newer things for the next couple of weeks to show, newer, older things. And while I was out there, I checked. I'm not in touch so much with local news out there from Ome, and my official residence, everybody in Japan has an official, what they call Jumihyo, where they have an official residence registered. And mine is not here in Asakusa. Mine is over in Ome. And I wanted to find out what was the news, what's the deal on the vaccines and stuff, and what's going to be happening, what has Ome City decided to do. And it seems that towards the end of April, what they're going to do is, that's what I get for chatting and carving at the same time, just pop the top off. Did you see that? I pulled it out, got to the end, and just as I was pulling it out, I must have bent it a little bit. The tip's gone. Good way to start the week here. Let's find the tip. Where is it? In there somewhere. And anyway, I was trying to find out what the deal on the vaccines is. And what they're going to do, I was a bit concerned about it. They're going to send a notice to all eligible people in each group first. The first group is the medical workers, the ones they're taking care of. The next group is everybody over 65 years old, or 65 and over, which includes me. And I assumed they were going to decide the order. They were going to send us postcards or something saying, here's the order, your number is up, come over to the local hospital at such and such a time, such and such a date. No, that's not how they're going to do it. They're going to send a huge blast of information papers to everybody who's eligible, so everybody in the city who's 65 or over. And it's going to be an application form. And you apply, if you want this thing, you apply and you set up and go. So what we have to do is we have to watch. I have to get them to watch the mailbox for me. Because the letter won't come to me here in Asakusa, the letter will come to me over in Ome. So I've got to get those guys to watch my mailbox. No, I'm not a citizen, but it's no connection. I'm a resident. This is happening to residents. As far as all these official things go, healthcare, pensions, taxes, of course, I'm treated exactly the same as a Japanese person. Exactly the same. I've paid taxes right from day one. So I have the same tax responsibilities. I get the same benefits. The only difference between me and a citizen is there's restrictions on what jobs I can have, meaning I can never become a politician. I can never be elected to office. I cannot be a police officer. They've got various jobs that they do reserve for citizens. But, no, I can't vote. That's the big deal. That's the biggest difference between residents and citizens. And I can't even vote locally, even though I'm a resident of Ome City. I can't vote locally. So, when I think of home, do I think of Asakusa or Ome? It's kind of a meaningless question. I don't really know. And at some point years ago, the question was, Dave, when you think of home, do you think of Canada or Japan? You know, or before that, do I think of Britain or Canada? And I don't know. And I really don't have any actual feeling of a home. Partly because ever since leaving the home, quote, where I grew up, I've never, owned a house. Well, I own it now, but I mean, while I had a family and stuff, I never owned a house. There was never a single place that was going to be permanent. I don't have any feeling of home. When I was a kid, we moved every 2 years. 2 years, we moved. So I never had a single place. Looking good. Prime Minister of Japan. I'll never be Prime Minister of Japan. We didn't know that already, but yeah, whatever. Well, it's funny, I'm not a wanderer, but there's just never been a single place that's been home. I've been here in Japan for 35 years in 2 different homes. So for me, that's a wonderful record. When I was in my parents' place, it was 2 years max was the place we lived. And here in Japan, I myself have lived in one house in Hammer, I was there for 15 years, and then in Ome for 20 years. And the last 5 or 6 have now been disrupted by this lifestyle back in Asakusa. What is someone, Dave doesn't know what a Pokemon is. I can't get to all the classifications, all the conversation here. I don't know. I know about Pokemon. I don't know any details of it. I can't list you a number of pocket monsters. And actually, when somebody described that thing to me, it was quite some years ago. I was visiting one of my customers for the Hyakunin Issue series, and his son, who was like 3 years old or something, was crazy into pocket monsters, so we had to interrupt our conversation while the son gave us a lecture about some pocket monsters. And at that time, I had asked them, how does it work, what's going on? And the little boy described it to me. But I came away from the conversation thinking, this pocket monster sounds like it sounds like, we have cultures where they do things like cockfighting or bullfighting. They put animals to fight each other and people bet on them and stuff like that. And I thought Pokemon sounded like this, like, why are we doing this, But they said that wasn't the idea, but whatever. It sure sounded to me like legitimized cockfighting, but whatever. Okay. Okay, let's try and get a better start. That was a pretty bad start to the day's work. Let's try again. Sorry about this. Let's have another go. Plan B, trial B. It never comes back to the same place either. Don't quite know why, but it never comes back to the same place. Well, speaking about knives and blades and stuff, there's been news and progress on the tool front. I know a few days ago, or it might have been late last week, we got a heavy little package in the post, in the delivery service, Takubin. It was a small box, but it was super heavy for what its size was. And Aoyama-san wasn't here. It was labeled to him, so I put it on his desk. And I didn't realize what it was. I should have had the brains to think about it. It was blades. It was a box full of hundreds of these new blades for our new line of tools. And we've contracted with 2 different blacksmiths. We're going to put these tools out at 2 different levels, price levels. Because the original plan was to use the best bladesmith we could find and have him make these things specially to our order. And we did that, but my God, they're expensive. So we thought that really can't be all that we do. We've talked about this thing for so many years, but if we just put it out at a price where nobody can afford it, it really won't be so cool. So we hunted around, found another bladesmith, blacksmith, bladesmith, to make the same product. We're going to have the same product available at 2 different kinds of steel. One with a very, very expensive steel, and one with a more reasonably priced steel. And they're going to be the same tools, the same shape, the same structure, the same mood, the same concept, perhaps even the same packaging, I'm not sure. But there will be a very, very high-grade steel, and there will be a normal steel. So there'll be 2 price levels to choose from. And this box that came was a batch of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of blades. So bits and pieces, bit by bit, the project is coming together. It also isn't without problems. This box that came the other day, Aoyama-san and he opened it and we inspected through these things, and I had to quibble. I thought there was a mistake here because some of the blades, the ones for the regular cutting knife, like the one I'm using today, they had not been hollow ground on the back. And I remember absolutely we had the conversation with the blade maker that I wanted these things hollow ground, and this group of blades wasn't ground. So Aoyama-san phoned them, and the guys mumble, and we sent them back yesterday. So as with any project, there's ups and downs and false starts and slow starts and whatever, but bit by bit it is coming together. It's broken again, this is interesting. The tip is broken again just now. And I'm being actually really quite careful with this. The tip has just broken again. I wonder if we've hit a bad patch in the steel here. Sorry about this, it's back to the stone. Back to the stone. Can you see it? The tip has become flat. The tip is gone. And it's not at a really sharp angle. There should be no problem with this. Back to the stone. Today is an interesting day. Not. I blame the blade, not the carver. It's almost certainly the carver, but to break it like once, twice, just like this quickly. You know, when they are making these things, of course, the guy's got the steel, and he's got it on his anvil. He heats it and hammers it, and heats it and hammers it, and heats it and hammers it. And these are hammered manually, you know, so he's hammering down the length of this, blade. And I've always been curious about that. When they hammer, 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 heat it up, hammer, 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 the actual point where the hammer hits, and then between where the hammer hits, the steel must be different, you know. And it does seem every now and then you get something like this where the metal just behaves a little bit differently at one point. Whether the guy was careless or it's just between the hammered points or not, I don't know. Hey, we get our practice today. Here we go. Yosh. What's the preparation I'm doing after that? There's water here. I know everybody tells me you don't need water with diamond stones, but whatever, and we've got a slurry stone. It's a Nagara stone, which makes a bit of slurry. And again, perhaps it's actually not necessary on diamond stones, but it's just something that makes me feel more comfortable with the way this is going. On a Japanese whetstone, you need to make the slurry, and it's the slurry actually that does lots of the cutting. Whether you need it on a diamond stone, I don't know, but it's comfortable for me. And you can certainly see when the metal starts coming off, the slurry gets dark with metal fragments. You can see the color changing, the gray color coming up. It's bits of steel getting mixed with the slurry. The water spit and lighter trick. Now I don't know. You're thinking that the blade is too brittle there and use the heat to temper it down a bit. It could be, but no. Yeah, electron microscopes. There's a company in Canada, Lee Valley Tools. They are, I don't know now are, but were, whatever, some years ago when I knew about them and bought some tools from them. They, or one of the guys there, is really crazy about sharpening to the extent that they've got, super fine microscopes and this and that, and they've A/B tested different kinds of steel and different kinds of stone and different angles and all that kind of stuff. They've really been big on sharpening research. And they've got a pamphlet I've got upstairs on the bookshelf in Ome about different methods of sharpening knives with different kinds of approach. And then super sub-microscopic photographs to show the different, the different results and things. And they're very big on Japanese tools. So I think they've got a bunch of this on their website. Lee Valley Tools in Canada. Sharpening for us, compared to a real carpenter, you get a carpenter with a big wide plane, few inches wide plane. Those guys, it's much more difficult, We're so easy. The tool is so small, it's just a few strokes, and you can change the angle so easily. In fact, I just changed the angle of this now. We've broken this twice. So what I've done is, we can see this, where's the angle here? How to describe this in words? I've changed the bevel angle so that the tip is less fragile. When you've got the knife on the stone, if you think about it like this, the bevel now is flat on the stone. The lower I hold my hand here while sharpening, the longer and thinner the blade goes. It's more of an acute angle. If I held my hand really high, then the bevel would be like this, and the edge of the blade would be less acute, less breakable. Of course, the higher I hold it, the more difficult it gets to cut, because the blade going into the wood now is like a boat prow instead of something thin. But because it's breaking, that seems to me that this blade's a bit weak. So I've sharpened it now instead of this, I've sharpened it at a bit fatter angle. What degree? I've got no idea what the number is. I've got no idea. I mean, we're talking about, I'd usually do it this, we're up and down, just a couple of degrees difference. And bringing my hand up a little bit like I just did makes that blade just a little bit more blunt and a little bit less likely to break. What number it is, I don't know, and I'm probably not even all that consistent with it. We saw this in the Ito-san video, the show. He talked about that. That was the main thrust of the thing he first tried to talk to me about in that very first video presentation, the day I met Ito-san for the first time. Oh, this is still sharp, nice. So what's the local news situation here today? The restaurant next door is up and running. They opened on the 26th. I wasn't here. I was out in Ome. And they've been open for 2 days now. And because these people are locals, this is not an outside company coming in, because they're locals. There's lots of other businesses around here who know them. And what has happened is it's common when a new business opens up for friends and suppliers and business partners and everybody with a relation to the company, it's quite common to send some flowers as a congratulations. We're not talking about funeral flowers here. We're talking about showy bouquets. And flower shops here are all ready and standing by to do this. And the big floral bouquets, they make them to order, of course. And they have special custom stands. And these guys here, they have lots of friends nearby. And the floral bouquet yesterday, they were spectacular. There was, I don't even know, 10, 15 of these massive displays on stands. They stand there taller than a human being. This massive batch of flowers. And you could barely see the front of the business for all the flowers that were there. And they'll be out there today. They've taken them in during the night. And as soon as they open up this morning again, they'll be bringing out the flowers. And the kid who must have done it yesterday didn't really, get what's going on. And I hadn't known what was going on, but he had taken all his flowers out and got them ready and got them set up. And they had so many that they started to move to the left and move to the right. And on the right of them is the crepe shop, and they were closed in the morning. And on the left of them is us, and we are closed. And our shutter is there, but the boy didn't realize the door is actually still in use, our door that goes upstairs. So he had put the flower stand, and one of the flower stands, right in front of our door. And I'd been upstairs. So I come running down the stairs to go into the shop, open the door, and bang, whacks into this flower thing. Luckily, it was so heavy, didn't knock it over, but I'm like, hey, hey. They come in and move it. Sign situation, there is no sign yet. There still is no sign. That cherry picker that was here the other day was just electrical people doing something with the wiring. There's no sign. There's no sign. I'll tell you what I'll do. I didn't do it yet. When they get it set up again this morning, I will go outside, take a picture of this, and have it ready for you for the next stream. Is a fist trip standard? I don't know what you're talking about, a fist trip. Grip. Fist grip. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Dave here is holding this thing in his fist, and he carves under his nose towards himself like this. The traditional carver holds it in his fist, but he puts it over the back way, and the line to carve is here, and he carves down like this way. It gives you more chance to wiggle, and cut, and move around left and move around right when you're carving over the back of your hand. I carve with my hand this way around, because that's all I knew when I was starting out. And you can do it. It doesn't matter. It's a big deal. You just carve like I'm doing. You can make nice prints. There's a few minus points in that your holding hand ends up covering the line, so that the line where you're going is covered, and you can't actually see where you're going until the very last second. It's like driving down a curvy highway, and you can't see more than 20 meters or so in front of you. You don't know which way the curve is going. But when you're carving this way over, your support is underneath, and the line is out there, and you can see your highway where you're going to be going, so as you carve, you can see what you're up to. So they're both fist grips, but the klutzy way to do it is under your nose. It's simple and easy. And the difficult way to do it is over on the outside, where you got to look down over your hand to see the line. But it's much more difficult at the beginning, but it's really much better if you can get through the beginner stages and learn how to do it. If I was a perfect person, I would stop doing it this way and take a few months or years or whatever it took to learn the other way. But I'm 69 years old. There's no way I'm going back now. Cut away, not towards. I'm not sure. We cut towards ourselves. When you're telling kids in school whittling, you cut away from yourself. You don't cut towards yourself and stab yourself. But Dave here cuts towards himself. But I know what I'm doing, and also my hand is supported. So that little rule that they teach kids is not really applicable to what we are doing here. Same thing here, as you can see it. My right hand here is supporting my left hand, and I'm pulling towards myself. which your teacher says, never cut towards yourself, cut away from yourself. But, like this is different. Also, the menu next door, and I had shown you before the photograph that they put out a sort of a menu board. It wasn't a menu board, it was describing the kind of business they're having there. And it mentioned lunch from 2,500 yen and up. And it seemed to it seemed to imply that most of their business they're looking for booked parties and stuff like that, not for casual diners. But after they opened on Tuesday and then again yesterday, they put up another board outside with a normal menu on it. And they do have a complete, it's just a normal menu. It's a restaurant, you go in and you can pick this and pick that and pick that. There's an a la carte menu, there's some set meals, there's drinks, salads, whatever, meat dishes. And the lunch they have there is 900 yen, which is, it's a little bit higher than what you'd find in many places aimed at salarymen. But it's reasonable. So we will be trying it out. I'm not going to go in any restaurant while the virus situation is here. I haven't been in a restaurant since March, so I'm not going in there just yet. But once I've got my vaccine or whatever, once it's all straightened out, I'll be back in there. So. Also, that reminds me, there is a bunch of stuff I was supposed to talk about today. Jerry Spies, the Spies Company. We talked about this the other day. Jerry Spies. After we mentioned this on the chat, somebody had looked it up and said there is a website still there, the company still exists. At the end of the stream the other day, when we were talking about that, Jerry Spies, I went to jerryspies.jp and I ordered some because it's really quite different than what I remembered. And I had told you that it was an Australian guy running it. That was wrong. It turns out that it was a British guy. I had his nationality wrong. He is still gone, of course. When he left, he sold the company. So the people that have the company now are still using Jerry's name. And his picture is there and blah, blah, blah. But so anyway, I looked at the menu online and I ordered a bunch of their stuff. And it came yesterday. So yesterday for lunch I had one of Jerry Spies. And it was okay. It was okay. The meat part was nothing to write home about, but very nice little pastry. After the stream, you made a pork pie. You made it. Good for you. But the website, the URL, it says Jerry Spies. Quick delivery. In Japan, it's deliveries the next day. If you've bought something, the delivery system in Japan just works simply. Whatever you're shipping in one afternoon arrives the next morning, period. Papa John, I don't know the backstory there. Jerry left. Well, Jerry just was a British guy, and I believe simply he retired back home to Britain. I don't know the backstory. It's probably on the Jerry Spies website. I don't know. The pies are a bit small. I don't know, this is what I remember. When Jerry left, I had been buying the stuff all the time. I had been just regular. I just got a batch of their pies every week. Basically, that was my lunch routine every day. Then when Jerry left, the pies became smaller, and they also became much more expensive. Like double the price. It was $6, $7 per pie, stuff like that. So when I went back to the website the other day, I was thinking, well, let's check it out. They're still here, but I don't know about this place, too expensive. But the prices were reasonable. They had a selection of 6 pies for, what was it, 2,400 yen or something. So about $4 each. So as I said, I ordered a batch and they came. They are kind of small. They're smaller than what they were when Jerry was doing it. But it's okay. It's okay. This is Japan. You know, food portions are smaller than what they are in Australia or wherever. And the taste was okay. I wouldn't put it in any contest in Britain or Australia, but it was okay. It was a nice pie for lunch. So. Does Dave know how to cook? I have never been interested in that. You know, it's funny. It's something I've never really been interested in. I know when I was a kid, it was quite a traditional family. My mother took care of all the kitchen stuff. I never thought of helping in the kitchen, was never asked to. So I don't know. As boys, myself and my brother, we would never have dreamed of doing anything like cooking and stuff like this. Once I became an adult and moved out, I didn't really have any interest in cooking and didn't do anything about it. Once we had kids, then of course it's a different story now. You're a family, there's a lady there, and I've got 2 kids. And then you've got a routine where you start having to help in the kitchen and stuff like that. So I'm not the cook in the house. I wasn't the cook in the house, but there was X hours now spent in the kitchen. But then our family had a bit of a strange situation. My kid's mother left quite suddenly. She left the family, and I was left with 2 kids, and it was me, and I had 2 kids. And they were, at that time, 5 and 7 or something like that. I can't remember the exact ages they were. So it was me all of a sudden and two daughters, 7 years old and 5 years old. So here we go, cooking now becomes a major part of life. So I never became really good at it, and it was just sort of basic, standard Japanese family fare. You know, you make the curry rice one day, you make the yakisoba the next day, you make onigiri, you know, whatever. So I became a very poor quality Japanese housewife level cook. And that went on for about 4 or 5 years till the kids at high school level moved over to live with their mother in Canada. So for those few years, I was a quote-unquote casual housewife type cook. And the girls, as they got older, they of course got involved with that too. So, and I did the thing. It was the rice and soup every day, and then you figure out what to make along to go with the soup and rice. And so it was funny for me. You know, I hadn't ever liked cooking, and still don't like doing it. But when it became a situation in life, said, okay, there you go, Dave, this is the card you've drawn, do this, you know. And then so I did it and became, basically competent at it. It wasn't something I enjoyed so much, but I did enjoy taking care of my family, you know. Once the kids left, that was it. I basically didn't do any more cooking at all. I buy ready-made foods from the supermarket, or I eat out. These days I don't eat out, so it's all ready-made food for Dave here. You know. But it was an interesting experience for me. The idea that the only pleasure in that cooking wasn't the pleasure in the cooking itself, but it was in the pleasure about, you know, taking care of your family and doing the right thing by your family and sitting down for the meal, the three of us, that we had made ourselves, me and with their help, whatever little girls. And that was really a nice thing. That was a warm, I can say this without cynicism, it was a nice, warm, fuzzy thing to have. To sit down for meals that we had made ourselves. It was something important. I'd never known that before. And whether, you know, my mother felt that during years when I was a kid in her house, I don't know. Whether cooking was a chore for her or whether it was a pleasure to feed the kids and they'd gobble the food and run away from the table. I don't know, whatever. But I did learn that from all those episodes. That was an important thing for me to learn, you know. How's our time? 49. I made biscuits, I made muffins, yes, so, absolutely. Did the traditional carvers notch the corners? Yes, of course. I mean, that's the only way you can get the next tool inside. What I'm doing a little bit differently from many of the traditional carvers is it wasn't always, I've cleared these lines. I've cut the line, and then I've cut the opposing area to make a V notch here. And I've done that on all the lines that I've been doing. In fact, as you see up here with the flowers and stuff, I've totally cleared around every line. That wasn't the most traditional way to do it. Look at this place here, where I cut this line and then left the wood in place. That was how mostly it was done in a traditional day. They cut the lines, left it, and just popped out the corners. The corners popped out like this. This is the classical way to do it. Cut your line, pop the corner, and then just move on to the next part. And all the clearing came later, and very, very frequently that next clearing would simply be a different person. This is part of why it was done that way. Mr. A, Mr. Top Gun, cut the lines and then handed over the block to somebody else for the clearing. People were working in groups, in workshops, not so much single carvers like it's all done today. Everything today is one person start to finish, but that's not how it was when it was a massive amount of work to do. But cutting out those corners, popping out the corners is absolutely essential, of course. That's where your chisel comes in. Actually, there's a tiny little episode there too. I know part of that, those interviews and discussions I had with Ito-san all those years ago. That was something that came up and that was mentioned. I was looking at his TV blog and something, and one of the questions I must have asked was, how come those lines are cut, but there's no clearing done around them? And I don't remember exactly everything he said at the time, but part of it was what I just said to you. That's normally the carver's job. The clearing is done by the next person. But another part of it, he said, was that if you do this, if you cut each line and expose it, then when you're doing the clearing in the middle of the next part, it's more dangerous for that tool to sometimes bang or nick the lines. But if the line is left like this, that's protection. Then as you're digging out here to take this away, that line is protected rather than being open and easily damaged. And that's a thing. That's very much a thing. But having said that, even right now, where you can see this, bringing in the next tool, once that V is cut, the work of the next tool really is clean and simple. And you're in no danger of breaking the lines. When you're cutting it like this, look, let's try this one. If you're clearing this area, you're coming up towards your line now. How far down can you go? How deep can you go? It's difficult. If you go too deep here, beyond what that cut is made, it'll pop that line out. So this, to me, I don't like doing it this way, because this, to me, is much more dangerous. You've got to shave down and shave down a bit more, shave down a bit more, trying to find the place where the bottom of that V is, because you don't know where it is. But if the V is cut like this, then these next tools just simply take out the stuff in the middle. It's visible. Look at this. You just take out the stuff in the middle, and then you shave down to where it matches the line. Clean, clear, and simple. There's a risk of banging the line, but that's a risk I'm okay with. I'm missing most of your conversation, but it looks like you guys are okay on your own. How many of the cat prints have been decided? 3. 2 were published. The third one is carving. I still have not put my finger on the fourth one yet. I am close to it. Actually, I spent time on this yesterday. I spent an hour or so on this yesterday. And I think my finger is poised and waiting on number 4. And I think I'm ready to pull the trigger on it. But it's not fair to tease and talk about it. So. But there's another factor now that's going to affect the production of the cat series. So there's a negative something in play here. I know there's a bit of personal news here. I'm not sure. I shouldn't talk too much about this. But one of our workers here, Lei-chan, the young lady from Hong Kong, there's been a family emergency, and she is going to be returning to Hong Kong on Sunday. She managed, even in this chaotic situation, she managed to get a flight. Her family has told her, get back here as quickly as you can. And she's returning to Hong Kong on Sunday, and we're not sure how long she'll be away. You know, I'm not sure of all the details of the health situation in her family, but it's something that has upset her quite a bit, and she is going to be out of here for a while. And Lei-chan has been one of the main printers on the subscription series. So what's going to happen is, I chatted yesterday with Suga-san about this. Suga-san is going to step in and cover for the work that Lei-chan was doing on subscriptions, starting with the fourth print. Lei-chan is going to finish the third one before she leaves, her group of the third one. And then Suga-san is going to step in and work on it. And that's probably not going to be enough. So it looks like, is there a silver lining here? It looks like I will be joining the printing team for the subscription prints. We're going to do them in three, Ishikawa-san and Suga-san, and then I'll step in as the third member of the team. And that'll be happening starting from the April print, which at the moment is still being carved, and this is the May print still being carved. And I'll be joining the printing team. So starting about a month from now, probably, it's not all decided yet, but about a month from now, a number of these streams, and maybe it'll probably happen rather than just one stream, it'll be 2 weeks at a time. I'll be up there printing, and then we'll come back down here and I'll be carving. Yeah, the ladies on the third floor are going to love that. Ishikawa-san today, I mentioned this to her for the first time, and she's like, she doesn't want this at all. She doesn't want this. So things are what they are. And we have no idea how long this is going to take or what's involved, or I don't know. It messes up a whole lot of things. Lei-chan is here on a visa, and if she stays out of the country too long, she will have trouble with her visa status. There are sometimes humanitarian considerations taken, and then sometimes not. So it's not a happy situation, but things are what they are. The other thing about that too is she's flying on Sunday to Hong Kong. So I did a bit of research and looked things up. And at the moment, Hong Kong has an extremely strict quarantine. And even for, citizens, residents, whatever, 3 weeks in a hotel. And it's like a jail. It's 3 weeks and it's monitored, and you're in that room and you don't come out into the hallway for 3 weeks. And these guys are being really strict about this. They're serious. So she'll be flying on Sunday, and we're going to talk about this, that she can take some work that she can do with her in that room during the time that she can't get to her family, But it's so dangerous here. It's so easy to pop that line off. I really don't like doing it this way. This way, where the V is already cut, it's much, much easier to see what's going on. Dave forgot to eat this morning. Dave didn't forget to eat this morning. Dave was time stressed this morning. Dave got up, did some stuff. There were some things had to be done. Dave has not had breakfast. And it's going to be too late, so Dave will just get a cup of coffee or something, and Dave will wait for lunch, and I'll probably have 2 pies for lunch. Is it that audible? Sorry about that. It can't be helped. Things are what they are here. But yes, I missed breakfast. Sorry about that. And then maybe all that talking about food didn't help. I don't know. That reminds me. That package, you know? Pies. They're small pies. They're really, really, really small. They're really, really, really small. But talking about the package, there's the other package to show. No connection with food, obviously, but here. This package that came from Britain. Let's have a look at this. We're okay. 903. We're okay. I have no idea if this is somebody on the stream. I know we've had in over the past year or so. We've had a couple of episodes where people who have been watching the chat have learned about something and then sent a small package. And this, I assume it's something to do. Does somebody out there know what's going on? It's interesting because it's sent by Royal Mail from Britain, but it is written in Japanese. So it's somebody in Britain who has the ability to type a Japanese address. Anybody among the stream here? Who could that be? Somebody in Britain who can type and read Japanese. Or copy it, whatever, of course. Anyway, let's have a look. Yeah, there are Japanese people in Britain too, but usually when somebody gets to the mail office and sends a package, you would write it in your own language. So it's somebody who has some... It's been bashed up a little bit here. I don't want to cut that thing. How do we do this? It's rattly. No idea. Is Dave fluent reading Japanese? Yes. Mokohankan, Taito Ku Asakusa, Tokyo To. Actually, it's backwards. That's funny too. If this was a Japanese person doing this, Japanese addresses start big and go small. So it would be at the top, Tokyo To, then it would go Taito Ku. This is all mixed up. You would never write an address like this. Am I fluent in Japanese? I'm fluent to the level of a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kid would be in reading and writing. In reading. In writing, not at all, but in reading. I can read at about an early middle school level. What? Food. Food. Is there a letter? It's from, there's no, thank you for shopping with the Marvelous Group. We think your order is marvelous. There's no note. There's nothing. Now we got this. Somebody in Britain who can order something from online using a Japanese address. Dr. Oetker put in a mug. Just add milk, microwave 50 seconds. A gift box of puddings. Hontoni, no letter, no nothing. Obviously, it's come directly from the pudding company. Interesting. No, there's absolutely nothing, no hint at all. Is somebody owning up to this? Is nobody's owning up to this? Ordered pudding in my sleep from Britain? Pudding in a mug. Well, I don't know if it's any connection with anybody on the stream or not at all. I'm sorry, I don't know. Dr. Utka's a German company to show, but this is it's from Leeds. It's from England. Okay, well, excuse me, a bit of a sidetrack here. If it's anything to do with some of you, speak up, please, and let me know. Doctor's orders. Yeah, right, so... I have no idea. No idea. Actually, it wasn't even addressed to me. It was addressed to Boko Hanka. So perhaps I've done this by mistake. Perhaps somebody else has got something here that I wasn't supposed to touch. It's not my mail, it's somebody else's mail. German pudding company, seems suspect, yeah. It also seems super sweet, right? Rich chocolate, sponge pudding. No list of ingredients. Oh, here we are. Sugar, cocoa powder, wheat flour, chocolate pieces. Okay. We'll give it a try. I'll report back. So, shit. Ishikawa-san's in today. I should have checked with her first, actually. Maybe somebody else here has ordered this, or Aoyama-san, or Cameron, or somebody. I've opened somebody else's mail. Diabetes in a packet. Yeah. It's a common brand in the UK for making quick desserts. Okay, all right. Oh, sorry about the sidetrack, excuse me. I don't... I just assumed actually that it was something to do with people on the stream here. Interesting, because we've had cards and letters and stuff like that in a couple of packages from watchers. So I just assumed it was something like that, but maybe not. No connection. Someone said, what, do you carve more than one piece at a time? I know here in Mokuhankan, there's a number of jobs happening at the same time. I'm working on this print. John-san is working on the April print. Kawasaki-san is working on 2 projects right now. She's working on the next print in the Cats series. She's also working on the little set of yokai miniature prints that we're going to publish this next couple of months. So the workshop here works on more than one block at a time. Normally each carver just works on one project till it's finished and then starts another one. Okay, I think it's time to show some prints. Let's just finish off this corner here just a second. Is the stream yelling at me? SNT, SNT. Probably. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. What a mixed up day it's been here today so far. A mixed up stream today. What a mixed up stream. Sorry about this. Okay. Today's show and tell. This is Hiroshige. Hiroshige ga Shodai, the first generation Hiroshige Edo Miyage. And this is 4. This is one package from a set. I mentioned before the stream this morning, or at the beginning of the stream, the regret sort of frustration thing. This full set of prints, which is 20 volumes, I've got volume 4. The full set of 20 volumes was on Yahoo Auctions last week. Was on Yahoo Auctions. I looked at it and I got ready, but I knew that this was going a place that I wouldn't be able to go. So I just sat and watched it, and the number just became stratospheric. And the frustration is that this month alone, we've paid out, what is it in taxes? I paid 38. We've paid getting on for 2 million yen in advance taxes from next year, back taxes from last year, taxes for this, taxes for that. 2 million yen we've just thrown away in taxes. And I watch prints like this that I'd like to be able to get, but can't do it. Okay. Edo Miyage, souvenirs of Edo. When Hiroshige was still alive, there was a set of books published. I think it was a set of 10 volumes. If you look it up somewhere, Edo Miyage. A set of 10 volumes, and these were published in the Japanese normal sewn-up book. They're woodblock printed books, the pages opened like this, and it was souvenirs of Edo. And it was simply small scenes here and there all around Edo. Some of them had little bits of poetry on, some had little bits of notes written, whatever. It was just a book about, whatever, souvenirs of Edo, places of Edo. Sometime later, and I think it happened after he had died, I'm not sure about this, those scenes were taken from those books and they were published again as single prints. And this may have been an authorized thing that happened while he was alive, or his students had taken over, or it may have been somebody just simply ripped the stuff off and made a set of books. I don't have any idea. But the thing was done as a set of, I believe there were 20 volumes, all woodblock printed. The cover pattern, which is Hiroshige's logo mark, the Hiro logo mark, It's woodblock printed, as is the inside paper. It's all 100% woodblock printed. And these things come up now and again on auction. They also come up in the dealers' places, and almost always they are heavily, heavily, heavily foxed. And this set that I got some years ago is not, and the full set that was there on the auction the other day was not foxed. What's the piece of paper under the prints? You guys don't miss anything, do you? April 21st, 2000. 20 Japanese woodcut scenes, $153 on eBay. So I got this on eBay 21 years ago for $150. Looks like a library card, so it's a receipt. Thank you, call again. We just keep it here, bang. So 21 years ago I got this, 21 years ago. And I don't remember the last week, the full set. All I remember, there was a lot of zeros. It was 6 figures. It wasn't 7 figures. It was 6 figures. I don't remember. I had just given up and moved on to something else. So I'm sorry. It was a few $1,000s for the full set. Now the thing about these prints, these designs, this is not the world's greatest art by any means. These are woodblock prints. They're nice. That's why we have them in our collection. But from the art point of view, I mean, there's sort of, I'm sorry, there's nothing there. This is stuff that Hiroshige clearly did as quick sketches. Some publisher grabbed them and said, wow, we can make money on this and let's go for it. But the art value here is pretty close to zero. I enjoy them because of the colors and the tones and the woodblocky aspect to it, but come on, come on. This is one of the parts of the moat that goes around the palace. We have, is there a parade happening? No, I think it's just casual people walking around. They're just quick sketches. There's nothing artistic about this at all. But they are nice. They are nice. Well, someone's asking about the toning here. All the papers in this set, that's the paper color, what you're looking at. That's the paper color. It's toned from its 100 and whatever years old. This would be from 1880, kinda, is my guess, 1880, somewhere around there. This is the toned paper. The other colors you see are printed. And that's funny too, isn't it? Look at this. This one, when you see it, the border looks to be toned and old-fashioned. When you see this one, the white paper looks really quite white. But actually, the white paper is the same. It's the same paper that we saw that appeared to be toned on the other one. But anytime you surround it with darker tones, it starts to look white. I don't think these were done in Kyoto. I think this was a Tokyo workshop. Yes, the address is here, so. Let's have a look. And it's the standard little stick figures. Kuromatsu. These are all famous places in Tokyo, scenes that people would know about. And they really are. No, these are all original locations, nothing imaginary here. These are all real places. These are all real places. Do they still exist? I know that's a good question. I know one by one. This park, I think this is Gotenyama. I'm not quite sure. That still exists. Gotenyama still exists. It's a bit more built up than this. This is Kogane. This place still exists. It doesn't look like this. This is the Tamagawa Josui that was built in the middle of Edo period to bring water from the western parts of Tokyo down into the center. And Tamagawa Josui still exists. And it also still has cherry blossoms on it, although of course now it's just in the middle of the city. It's surrounded by urban environment. So this is in Kogane. So this place still exists. They're nice. I wasn't trying to diss it too much when I said it wasn't great art. I know the series as a whole has so many dogs. These last couple we've looked at, they're nice pictures. It's pleasant. So I'm not trying to diss it. But when you see, some of them are just like, why did they bother? You'll see, as we go through here, you'll see. Some of these are much more artistic than others. But the printing is nice. The printing is nice. It's delicate touch, delicate tracery. The printers did their job. They took care with this. And that nice palette plus 140 years of aging and toning, the result is very pleasing and very pleasant, you know. But the little stick figures, just the little sticks. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at here. What's this one? Edo Misaka. I don't know the place. It's a hill somewhere in Edo. They must have been up on the Yamate. I'm not even quite sure what these objects we're looking at are here. It's a stone wall, and maybe this is just part of the wall, I guess. Okay, it's a plastered wall on top of a stone base, I guess. I don't know. Very moody, very nice, very misty. This is Kasumigaseki. This is the area in Tokyo now that is the center of the government. And maybe at this time too, they were government offices or daimyo offices. I don't know, I'm sorry. Actually, this is the end of the Edo era to show. Look at this, we've got a procession here. Actually, when I said 1880, no, I'm wrong on that, absolutely. This has got to be at least 20, 30 years before that. 1850s, 1860s, not these prints, the designs. The book he designed, it would be 1850s, 1860s. These prints would be made later, 1880s or so. But the designs date from the actual Edo time. But the prints here date from probably early Meiji. So there's confusion about what we're seeing here. The designs and the printmaking are happening at two different eras here. An archery to show. I don't know where this is. This is Takaranobaba. I get it. North of Shinjuku now, the area still exists, but it shouldn't look like this. This is north of Shinjuku, and now it's a totally grotesquely urbanized area. And I heard that somewhere there were military training fields in Takaranobaba. And I think that's what we have here. We have some archery targets, I believe, here. We have archery targets, and at the other end of the field, these are our men with the bows and arrows, shooting at them. And this is Takaranobaba. No. I'm talking about the dates. The designs, the original book, Hiroshige's book, Edo Miyage, would have been 1860s or so. These are the same designs stolen from the book, but these prints would have been cut and printed in Meiji time, 1880s or so. So the physical piece of paper, the cutting and the printing is 1880s. The designs are from a generation earlier. Here's what I said about, this is not great art, the landscapes. I mean, this is phoned in. This is nothing. There's just nothing happening here. This is phoned in. He must have been given the assignment, we want 20 designs or something like this. So So again, the technical is nice. The color gradation is printed nice. It's a pleasant object, but artistically, I mean, there's nobody home here. I'm sorry, there's nobody home. I guess it's a famous tree. I don't know. I don't know I can't recognize the location. I'm sorry. I mean, Hiroshige was a globally famous, not globally famous, he was a globally now globally recognized artist, competent. The famous Tokaido series we've looked at in our stuff, wonderful work. But this is just stuff from a sketchbook that people decided to publish, and I don't think, whatever. People in here, Sim? No, they're not all around the palace area. They go widespread. We saw just before, we saw Kogane, which was way on the outskirts of Edo at that time. Way, way on the outskirts. So it's quite widespread. The last waterfall was an erotic allegory. Okay, if you wish, you go for it. This looks like the similar location to what we saw a minute ago, that Tamagawa Joshi, one of the canals that brought water to Tokyo, to Edo, lined with cherry trees. And do we detect a theme here, you know? For me, the attraction, as I said, the attraction in all of our work here, the attraction is not the artistic aspects, it's just the paper and tones and colors and the way things go together. It's just so pleasant, you know. Also, too, we see this in a number of Japanese prints, this specific moon shape, and I'm like, I understand why they couldn't draw elephants because they never had an elephant. I'm confused why they couldn't draw cats because, you know, cats are maybe difficult. But where do you get this for a phase of the moon? I know. Where do you get this? I know it's up in the sky. Everybody can see it. This is Inokashirokoen. This is still here. This place exists, but again, it's not the wild area that we see here. This is a very built-up park near Kichijoji, out on the suburbs of Tokyo. It's fireflies, right? They're collecting fireflies. This must be a summer evening. You know, I've been busy dissing this, but like somebody's pointing out, it's a very minimal thing, you know, to make interesting looking figures with such a few number of brush strokes. This is an accomplishment, you know. We're joking about stick figures, but they look like human beings with a very minimal amount of actual input. So there's a skill here, absolutely there's a skill. Just these have been sort of blown out. They're just a little dab of a sketch that's been blown up to be something more important than the actual content. Snow, we're all a sucker for the snow scenes, right? This is cool. This one's cool, no question about that, but partly because we're a sucker for snow. The depth is nice, the perspective is nice, the composition is okay. I think anybody would be happy with this one. It's kind of cliche, but it's beautiful. Now, it's part of the comment that I think I've been writing about this again and again and again during the years, that the woodblock print thing in Japan, the Japanese traditional woodblock print technique, the thing about the nice paper and the delicate colors and the sharp cut lines, it's sort of, no matter what you do with it, you could almost do them randomly and the resulting thing is actually beautiful. And I think this sort of backs up a little bit, you know, when the content is artistic, it comes out to be really glorious, but even when the content is not artistic, the object can still be an attractive object. So it's the designer has brought X% to it, but the materials and technology and the craftsman also bring a huge part to the table. And this is a really good example, I think, to show that, you know, that even when the design is not there, when the guy just phoned it in, the object is still beautiful. You can look at it and enjoy it and touch it and taste it and you know, grok it. And when the designer really does the proper job, then the thing is a glorious creation. It's magnificent. But the tools and technology and materials have such an inherent beauty by themselves that even when the content is not there, it's still an enjoyable object. This is the Tama River. This is way, way west. I know, actually my home is on the other side of the Tama River, but this is, from these days, Edo era, this is way, way, way west of Tokyo. This is the Tama River area. This is Yotsuya, another part downtown again. These are not Hokusai horses, this is Hiroshige here. Kind of a heavy load there to show. Is that a bunch of packages and a person stuck on top? So the horse gets more detail than the humans, okay. And we end on a high note. Not. Whatever, it's just elements. Here, put some trees here, put an island here, put some trees in the background, done. Hi, next, moving on. You know, it's like the sketch would have been 5-10 seconds work, and people have taken it and made a woodblock print out of it. So, ooh, more water. And you don't know how to connect the front and the back, that's okay. Put some mist in between the two of them, then you've got your back and you've got your front. So, whatever, I know, not to diss it, it's okay, it's okay. It was a cheap production, I don't know how many there are. This is a set of 20. This is book 4. I think there were 10 So there'd be 200 probably. There's 200 images in the set as a whole, I think. We'd have to look that up to see, but 200 images as a whole. So there we are, Hiroshige's Edo Miyage, Souvenirs of Edo. Originally published in the 1860s, I believe, as a 10-volume wood-block printed book. These prints here, excuse me, are a late Meiji-era version using the same designs long after Hiroshige was dead and publishing the same designs as single prints and as collectible sets. And they must have been in quite high demand because we see these all the time. They come out in the markets all the time. Most of them are very heavily foxed and not in good condition. I have at home, this is a set of 20 here. I have at home in random pieces, I don't know, 100 or so of these things. Some nice, some not so nice. Have I stolen any of this? Yes, we have. I haven't stolen any of the ones that you see in this package right here, but a number of the prints in our Hunger Club are stolen from Hiroshige's Edo Miyage. I say stolen, I'm saying that in fun. There's no copyright in these. Hiroshige's been dead for 70 years, 100 and whatever years. So these are completely public domain images. Anybody can use them if they so choose. Okay, there we are. That's a Thursday. It's been a bit of a funny stream today. Sorry, breaking my knife a couple of times, not even getting in full stream in the work. Bit of a strange stream today. My next job now, because I have freshly got my haircut, now is my chance. And my job now, and I will be doing this within minutes of finishing the stream, today is video filming. I'm going to try and get the room set up today. It's going to take me most of the day to set it up. This afternoon I may start video. Tomorrow all day will be video filming, then I start the editing. So if all goes well, we should see a new YouTube video up and running on the weekend, if all goes well. If lots of distractions happen and things don't work well or visitors come or whatever, it may be a bit later, but we are now on the cusp of having our next YouTube video. And it's going to be David's Choice number 12. And the theme is going to be wait and see next week. Yes, and she did trim a bit of my beard as well. Okay guys, thanks very much. I'm off for a big rich cup of coffee, getting ready for lunch, and I'll see you on Saturday morning. Thanks for watching. Very mixed up stream today, but anyway, thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye for now.